You're listening to Lazy Gal Podcast, hosted by Sejal Kanate. This is the last pre-recorded episode because by the next one, I will be back on U.S. soil. I'll probably take a week break, and then the first content piece out will be a blog post. I've recently been playing a lot of Royal Match. I found about it in a game ad on Duolingo because at the time I'm learning Greek, but let's see where I am with that when this episode is released. This is like near the end of June. So, in the last episodes, if you like realize I'm sounding a bit nasally, it's because I usually record these at night and like I have like kind of like dust allergy, so my nose gets like blocked, and then I just end up sounding like Stuart Little. Not the little, just Stuart Little. Okay, so today's episode is on finding your person and also a Q&A. I was originally just planning a Q&A, and then if you're like on my Instagram and Twitter, at the underscore lazy gal, both of those are linked below. You'll see that I asked everyone to send some questions, so I'm excited to answer that. But remember, in Love Hypothesis, I mentioned this in an earlier episode, but I filmed all of these in like a week, so some memories are repeated. But Olive talked about finding your person and how On was her person, like Holden was to Adam. Now, if you haven't read this book, whatever I'm saying literally makes no sense, but basically to me, finding your person doesn't mean only romantically. You can find your person romantically and platonically, and sometimes they can be the same person. So when I think about like finding my person, I really think about someone who I can connect with like all the time. And some people like kind of find these in their siblings or like family members or cousins, but because like I only have my sister, kind of finding my person family wise is kind of like minimal. And I feel like finding your person is someone who's also on the same maturity level as you. So finding someone who usually thinks along with you. And I know people are like, oh, but opposites attract. But I feel like with finding your person, you guys really have to link and connect on something. Like finding your person doesn't mean you guys have like really, I mean, of course you guys can be interested in different things, but if you guys don't have anything in common, then what are you even like finding? So that's really something that I think about when finding my person. And like I've read a lot of books and of course like movies and whatever, but most people find their person like it can be whenever. And I want to like talk about the fact that you don't have to find your person right now. You can find your person in another 10 years, 20, even like maybe when you go to college, maybe when you graduate college, when you find your new job, when your next door neighbor. There are so many opportunities to meet people, and it's like okay, like it's okay if you don't find your person right now because you can always find them at a later time. And I want to talk about that because I don't believe that I found my person, to be honest, because I never really have thought of someone who like there I have close friends of course, but whenever I think about someone, like sometimes there's just something about them that kind of throws me off. And I feel like that's true for even me. Like I bet when people think about me, they find something that they don't really admire or like, and I'm completely fine with that because of course you can't be liked by everyone and you cannot like everyone in of itself. Like that's just how it is. But when I think what I think about finding your person is that that person is someone that you really don't find that many icks about. Like you're like, yeah, like this person has some faults, of course, like people are not without faults, but it's just okay, like I still love this person. But sometimes when I think about people that I'm friends with and I think about this, I'm like, this is like something that I would never be fine tolerate. That's what I'm kind of saying. So I just want to say like it's fine to not find your person, and if you think you have yours, that's great, but it's also fine to think that you found your person and it's really not your person. So I feel like I just want to talk about that because I'm also like on summer break, so whose mind am I gonna eat about that? Anyways, but I just wanted to kind of talk about that before the Q&A. So if you have any thoughts on like finding your person or whatever and you wanted to have a little chat about it, you can always hit me up on Instagram. I'll probably have a Q&A down below on either like finding your person or maybe just like thoughts on the Q&A, like a Q&A on the Q&A. But like also finding your person, like going back to Love Hypothesis, how it's like someone that you have created memories with, even if you haven't known them for that long. Like let's say graduate college and you found your person, it's been a year or two, but you have solid memories. Maybe not even like pictures or anything. You just have memories of being with that person. And that's really what I think finding your person is. It's just looking at someone and like seeing all these happy memories and realizing that in 10 years you want to make so many more of these memories. That's kind of what it is. And you want to grow together and be together. And of course can only be platonically. That's completely possible. So like finding a best friend is something, but also finding your person, I feel, is on a whole different level. Like it's soulmates, but like platonically and romantically. Like that's what finding your person to me means. And if you're like, oh, how do I find my person? I feel like, of course, to find someone, okay, so this is kind of like related, but I feel like compared to faith, that like going, not like faith like religion, but like faith like FATE, is you will always find pass the path of someone who is meant to be in your life at least once in your life, whether it be your soulmate or someone that you really need in your life right now. If you see that person, they will pass your path at least once in your life. So with finding the person or like the soulmate, I believe that the universe will give you maybe one or two chances for them to be in your small existence little like area, like your region. So this could be joining clubs or going to after work parties. And I feel like I don't know if I talked about this in my other post. Maybe I did my episode, but about the burnt toast theory, which is it's okay if you burnt your toast this morning because maybe that being late prevented you from being in a car accident. Maybe that being late, like you were walking a different route that day, or you drove a different route and you met someone that changes your life for the better, if that kind of makes sense. So that's what the burnt toast theory is. And I really like think that when you haven't found your person that you think yet, like it's coming. Like don't worry. Like even they might even be in your life right now. You just don't know because you've never really shown a part of yourself that connects that well. And of course, finding your person doesn't mean that you have to connect right away. Like, of course, that happens with people when you just are friends with people. Like, all of a sudden, like, you guys have, it feels like you guys have known each other forever. And of course, that's kind of like akin to love bombing, but that's not the point. But I like this is different, like finding your person. So, of course, if it takes time, it probably will. But if you think like you really just have yourself, like that's okay. But don't worry because someone that is meant to be in your life will be in your life. Okay, so now that I have done my little tangent, let me know if you guys want like more episodes on stuff like this. Maybe that'll also be the Q&A. Who knows? Okay, so this is the Q&A part. So first was from Twitter from Mind Beauty Simplicity blog, and it's why did you decide to blog or run a podcast? So I first created my blog in August of 2020 on Medium, and I just wanted to like write. Like I just loved writing, and my first thing was like create a book, but I've never really like I tried like courses and stuff, but it never really stuck to me. So I was like, oh, why don't I just be a blogger? Like that's something I'm interested in. So in January of 2021, I invested in my own website, and just from there, it just started. And like I really love writing and like seeing people enjoy what I write and the content I put out. So that's kind of why I decided to blog and stick with it. And then for podcasting, I just wanted to extend my reach kind of because like I've always like kind of like the whole video influencer kind of thing, but I was like, oh, like a podcast seems doable. Like usually when I record podcasts, like I am at the end of the day, and trust me, I am looking like I am 2 steps away from bed. So I kind of felt like podcasting is a better way for me to ease into it. And I might do video podcasts starting maybe July or August. So let's see how that goes. Again, by Mind Beauty Simplicity is what have been some of your favorite books so far this year. So I did have a podcast episode on that, and I feel like everything I kind of wrote was in there, but like Load to Love You or any of the books by Ali Hazelwood, I really enjoyed those. And then of course whatever is in that episode. So I really like Ninth House and all that. So how did you make time to be a content creator? So it was a bit hard, especially in the beginning when because like it was during quarantine, it was a bit easier just because I had online schooling. But now when I'm in person, it's a lot harder just trying to juggle everything. And somehow in like May, I managed to actually like publish, and I'm happy that I get to pre-record and really still put out content. So yeah, so basically how I make time is just I usually do everything after 9:30, 10, and try to do all like the brain foggling stuff earlier, like my homework and stuff that requires me to be a bit more awake. And like I like recording is more relaxing for me, or writing. As for like writing blog posts, I try to do that throughout the week. And then I also do like Instagram posts during school whenever, like I just something that's easier to do. And of course, writing scripts and whatever, but recording I kind of have to do in a quiet environment. So like right now it's like 10 p.m. and usually when I do record it is around 10 p.m. So another question is, what's your favorite song? So my favorite song at the moment is anything by The Weeknd, Kali Uchis, or Mitski. It's kind of been the same. What's your philosophy in life? Okay, so I kind of have a everything is meant to be, but at the same time, if you don't think it's meant to be, give it some time or change it. Like, you can't always be like, oh, like, why is this always happening to me? But you never do anything to leave that scenario. Like, of course, some things are what they are and it is hard to change them. But I meant, like, if you're complaining about every single little thing in your life, or that you're always like, oh, nothing goes my way, maybe you need a different perspective, or it's just something is trying to be showed, or something someone is trying to tell you something, and maybe that's what you're just missing. So really taking a step back, or like maybe just doing personal videos, like if you don't like journaling, just talk it out with yourself, like be your own kind of personal therapist and see what happens. Okay, so some other ones are, what's your favorite recipe from your home country? Thanks, Shooty. My favorite recipe, I feel like that's kind of hard. Like, I like a lot of Indian dishes, but I would have to probably go with like garlic naan and like beja fry. It's mutton, like lamb. And then, what's your social security number? Okay, Kelly. Moving on. So, what are your plans for summer and upcoming year? I will probably be back, like of course, like I said, in July. So I'll be gone for June, and like if you've been on my Instagram at the underscore lazy gal, you'll see that I've been posting, and I hope to be more consistent with my posting like I am, and maybe I will start actually sticking to a content schedule, and maybe I will start doing video podcasts. But let's see how that goes. As for like the rest of the year, kind of, I was gonna do a tech series and also maybe another study series, but this time it'll be a little more planned out, so it's not at the time of studying. So this gives people to really implement what I talk about. And then also, why do you read so much? Okay, moving on. I read like 10 books in like a week, and I don't read for the next 2 months. Like, it happens. Move on. Okay, so the next one is, do you have a workout routine? So remember, these are kind of pre-recorded, but I do have a whole podcast episode on my workout split that I will be releasing. Sorry, that should be released. It should have released 2 weeks ago, I believe. So yeah, on there I have like my whole workout split from leg days to arm days, like what I do on each of those days, and kind of like the sets. So if you're interested, check out that episode. And then the other question I have is also, are you excited for senior year? And I really am, because this is like my last year of course, and I'm just excited to see what the future will hold, what college I get into, and all the stress that comes with it. So it is what it is, but I am happy that my workload is a bit easier. Like, I have no Spanish, no offense, Senor Ibarra, but thank God. So done. And then, so basically, I'm taking Calc BC. I'm a TA for my calculus teacher. I'm doing applied computer science, game design. I have a flex, adulting, and then AP literature. So yeah, final year. Let's see what it brings. For like being on my podcast, like if there's a criteria, and at the moment there isn't, like as long as you have a topic that you want to talk about and I can see that you're like interested in talking about that topic, and also like you are on time, like you're scheduled to talk about it, and that you have somewhat of a script if you want to be on the podcast, because I will probably send some questions like I did with Kelly. I sent her some questions, and I know that you are prepared to be on here, and it's not like a wake up talk was on my mind and go back to sleep kind of thing. And for being on the blog, like as long as, just email me at thelazygal.blog@gmail.com. I will link my email down below in the show notes. So for that, it's mainly just email me if you have any topics on mind. Just give me like maybe 3 to choose from. And of course, you can always write more than one. Just let me know when you want to kind of schedule it out. Like, I'll just tell you if it works for me, whatever you're like, I'll just let you know. We can talk about it then. So that's kind of my only criteria. And then I do have criteria for like the posts, but we'll get into that after you email me. So if you're interested, I will officially be opening them up in July, so I'll have a form out. But you're always welcome to email me earlier, and then I can just add your name to lists or something. So if you have any tips for starting up your own blog and like motivation. Okay. So basically my motivation, like I said, was just writing. Like I really liked writing. But as for recommendations to starting up, I was thinking of also having like a blogging slash podcast series. I was kind of thinking of having my own online course, but I'm still working on that. But I'll probably have like some posts or at least like a free video up before I like actually release the course, and I'll talk more about that. But basically what I like really recommend right now is that of course there are new blogs and podcasts popping up every day, but just think about what you want to talk about, because if you talk about stuff that you don't want to talk about and you're still not getting views, like that's so much more like disappointing and disencouraging than when you really are talking about something that you like and you enjoy doing it. So like especially with like my podcast, like I'm still growing of course, but I'm starting off a bit on a small podcast side, but I really do like talking about things like this. So for me, like I enjoy it. But if it was for my blog, like now I talk about like I write about wellness and productivity, but I enjoy talking about lifestyle things a lot more because I like get my tone across. I just hate listening to my voice after the playback. So we have, what are your top 5 books? Again, like it was in my, I answered that earlier. So favorite stationery. So one of my friends recommended me this, I don't know if I can say it correctly, but AIAOU pen. I can link the pen down below. And I really like those. And I like the Muji ones for annotating. And I usually like, I went to Daiso maybe a year or two back and I got some really nice mild highlighters. So I usually use those for annotating. I've actually stopped using pencils even for math. So I'm just with the pen. I got erasable like the friction pens, but after a while, like the ink just kind of becomes lighter and lighter. And I like darker pens, especially like ones like 0.5, like the ones that I was gonna link down below. I think it's HAIHAO. A-hi-A-ho. I'll link it down below. So yeah. And then other for like other stationery, like I don't draw much, so just good pens to be honest. Like that's kind of my own thing. Okay, so as for that, let me see. Okay, so do you like math? A moderate amount. A moderate amount. Are you healthy? Um, recently no, but I after vacation starts, or at least even in vacation, I'm gonna try to make a little healthier choices. But now, like I just ended studying and I'm just sitting around watching TV. Like I started a new show, Grace and Frankie, and I like it so far. Okay, so what are your 3 favorite TV shows or movies? Okay, so I really like Murder Mystery with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. I watched both the first and the second one 3 times. The Indian rep is really insane in the second one, but you know what? It just gets more insane as the movie goes. So I'm just like, okay, like I'm here and you're here, we're both here. I watched Gilmore Girls and I really like that one. I think I'll maybe rewatch it when after a couple months just to. Cause I did just finish it like last month, so I just wanna give myself some time before I rewatch it. And then I like Three Idiots, but it's a Hindi movie. Okay, so what city would you most like to live in? To be honest, like I'm fine with California as where I am now. I just it's so expensive, but maybe Santa Cruz. Like I really like the weather and just the diversity and just the feeling of Santa Cruz, kind of. If not Santa Cruz, like out of state wise, maybe Washington, Oregon's pretty nice too. Just something close to the liberal kind of diversity area. Are you living a meaningful life? So I think as of now, I'm just trying to make it as I go. But hopefully in the future, I will have more intentional decisions being made. But I think at the moment, like, yes, I do try to make sure there are a lot of aspects of my life that are meaningful. What is one thing you can't live without? Probably music or books. I would have to go music though. I mean, I feel like I go my whole day listening to music though, but I can go like a month or two without reading books, if that makes sense. So I would have to go with music. Of course, like family stuff, but you know what I'm saying. Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert? I know like there's a mix of the ambivert, but I feel like I'm more of an introvert because I just like. I mean, of course, I like going out and like having fun, but I think the majority of the reason I do go out and have fun is mainly for the food. So if you told me I would have the same food at home with a good show in like warm in like pajamas or something, like I would choose the one at home. And maybe invite a friend. Like I feel like you can still be an introvert. It's just even if you have friends over, like that's kind of like inside hangout. That's an introvert thing. If you had to work but you didn't need the money, what would you choose to do? Probably not work. But I mean, I feel like I haven't really experienced enough jobs to like I know people are like, "Oh, why don't you write?" But like I don't want to treat things as a job that I really like. Like right, maybe you know what? I would just be a secretary at like a law firm or like a really rich firm where they have like their fridge stocked all the time and they have like good coffee and like they have like good people, so I'm not worried about calling the police every 30 seconds. And I can maybe leave my stuff near me. Like you know what I'm saying? Like a good area that pays enough that I can make it in a small little like an apartment enough. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't need the money. So I would just that's where I would work, like a little secretary, receptionist, answer the calls, lead the people. If you could close one fast food chain due to disgusting food, what would you pick? Um, I'm not really sure because I'm not like I don't eat a lot of fast food, and if I do, it's like a very specific thing. Like I like jalapeno poppers or like milkshakes, maybe fries, but I don't really hate one fast food chain because of disgusting food. If you could be a member of any TV sitcom family, which would it be? I want to say Gilmore Girls, but I feel like I would have, I don't know, like, I would just be so mad. I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why is this? But, like, at the same time, Loki Gilmore Girls. Just because I like the whole Stars Hollow Queen thing, but also they're all white, other than Lane. So maybe, and Michelle. So maybe not. But if it wasn't for that diversity issue and maybe the small town Connecticut, like, what's that guy? The mayor's name? Whatever his name is, Taylor. That guy would hate crime me in my sleep. What are you talking about? What is your favorite part about your day? So I think it's like going to bed, but not really like this. I mean, of course, the sleeping part, but also like the winding down before bed. Like I used that mushroom magic mega relief thing I have on my Instagram from Dr. Origins, and I put that on my face, and then I put castor oil on my eyes, and I put like Vaseline or like lip balm before I sleep, and I feel like put my hair in braids, so like I feel fresh sleeping, but like at the same time I feel ready for bed, if that makes sense. Like that's kind of a routine I have, and I realize like if some things don't go against my routine, I'm not really a fan of them, and maybe that's just a Taurus in me talking. So who knows? Okay, so are you easy to get along with? I have no idea. Do you believe in luck and miracles? Kind of. Like sometimes I'm like, you know what? Thank God this happened because if it didn't, I'd be done for. So yeah, like my calc grade, that was a luck and miracle. Favorite part of my daily routine was like getting ready for bed, and also like in the morning after I put my contacts in, I'm kind of doing my skincare routine. So I really like that feeling of doing something every day, and I know that after I do this, like I will be ready for my day. And I think I talked about this on In My Thoughts podcast with Patty Oliva, sorry. And she was saying how like yeah, like she needs that routine to get going. And I was like, yeah, because if I don't, I always feel disgruntled when I come out of bed. Like I'm not really prepared for my day. Some of these questions are crazy. Do you wish your skin was lighter or darker? My guy, what? Do you ever want to get married? Yeah. What is the difference between living and existing? I actually really like this question. Maybe I'll do a mini episode or at least pair it to something else in the future. But with living, I feel like you put the live in alive. Like you are really out there. Like your life feels like a One Direction song all the time. But I feel like when you're just existing, you're kind of like the sad part of the Hosier song. If that kind of makes sense. Like you're just the yearning. Like are built with so much want for something, but when you're really living, like you are really acting on those wants. If that like this yearning, if that makes sense. What can you do today that you were not capable of a year ago? I think that I mean, I always like to think of myself as someone who is strong and very put together. But I feel like last year, something I was not capable of doing was really setting boundaries and really telling myself that whatever's meant for me is meant for me. Because like after, let's say, like a friend breakup or something didn't go really well, and I was be so distraught, but I'm like, now it's like whatever was meant for me is meant for me. And I don't know if you guys listen to The Wizard Liz, but I love her, and she's always like, yeah, if they were meant to be in your life, they would be in it right now, and you would feel like they're supposed to be in it, like finding your person. Like you just know that you guys were meant to click together. So I feel like that's kind of what I was not capable of doing a year ago, was really telling myself and consoling myself in that aspect of my life. Would you rather be jack of many trades or master of one? I feel like it depends on the situation I am, but usually probably jack of many trades, just because I feel like master one implies that you don't know how to do anything else. Like you're just kind of mediocre. Like I know jack of all trades. I feel like that's a little bit, it's a step up from mediocre, but also not master, like in the middle. So I would rather be jack of many trades. Okay, so last one. If you could bring the one fictional character to life, who would it be and why? Oh God, that's a good one. I feel like people are like, oh, a book boyfriend, but like I actually don't know. Like, it's a good question. Because like if you bring it back to, like if you bring them to life, it doesn't mean that if it was like someone that you find like a book boyfriend in like a fictional book, that wouldn't mean they would like you. So I don't think of making the murder like those like mysteriously dark gray villains. I feel like they would kill me. What are you saying? I don't know. But if you guys have any any answers to any of these questions, let me know. I would love to hear them. I will probably have a poll on if you want more episodes on like finding your person kind of thing. Like I know I did one on the 5 love languages and my like opinion on them and like my perspective, and that's actually the number one episode on all platforms, like compared to all of the other ones I have. So if you guys want something more like that, I'll put that in the poll down below, and then we'll see. Okay, bye guys. I'll probably see you in real time next time. So that exciting.